What's good, everybody? Can you hear me on Instagram? Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me on Instagram. Anybody? I stole my daughter's iPad so I could live stream on Instagram at the same time. Let's go. I got a thumbs up on Instagram. Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Live. I'm your host, Stefan Paulson. Before we get started, if you haven't done so, go subscribe SVG TV on YouTube. Help me out. Be greatly appreciated. Let's go. We got some people Instagram Live. Also available live on YouTube. Uh-oh. Seems to lag on YouTube. Probably due to the me doing it at both places. Hopefully it's not that bad. What's going on, everybody? It's been a crazy last 10 days, let's say, for myself. Hope everybody's doing great. Just came back from a short trip to my hometown in New Brunswick. Went to help my mom move. Her and her husband are both retired, so helped them move back. Great trip, but takes a lot out of you to be on the road 10 plus hours for the trek back and forth. Guys, I'm grateful that you all joined me on Instagram, but I don't think this is going to work, so I'm going to stop going live on Instagram. If you want to join me, get on YouTube, SVG TV. Check the link in my Instagram stories. Talk to you later, Instagram peeps. And sorry about that. This doesn't seem to work. For some reason, my YouTube live was lagging from what I was seeing when I had my Instagram live on at the same time. Anywho, hopefully, you know what? It might be something else. Give me 2 minutes. You're not online, are you? Oh. Ooh. Seems like I'm having some technical issues. Guy. Something about today, maybe. I don't know. Let's try that again. New window. Sorry about this. If you're watching right now, this is not how I wanted this to start. But hey, you know what? Sometimes shit happens. You just got to roll with the punches. Here we go. All right. Live. Let's see what we got here. Seems to be working. Wow. I have no idea what's going on right now. but my live does not seem to be cooperating. I'll keep going. If I see that it's still lagging, I'll cut it short. Let's try this again. Welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm your host, Stéphane Paulson. Missed last Friday. Had some personal business to take care of, but all good. We're back this Friday today. It's warm. I love doing these podcasts. I love doing these lives, but one thing about my house is that I have this studio, homemade studio in a small office space. And it's in front face it's the room is facing the front of the house. That's where the sun goes down. So a lot of the second half of the day, the sun keeps hitting in the window and it gets really warm in here. So a few minutes into my recording sessions during the summer, I just get drenched in sweat. Sucks. It's uncomfortable mostly. Had a shiny forehead while you're going at it, It sucks. But what you gonna do? Can't complain about the weather. It's warm outside. It's nice. Love me some summer. Who doesn't, right? Seems to bring the best out of everybody. When it's nice out, cold weather sucks. Winter is harsh and hard, It's nice. Doesn't last long, unfortunately. You live in Canada. You really get to live through all 4 seasons, right? It's not like some other places in the world where they really don't. It's like some have 1 season and some 2. Man. Had the week off from work. Had to take care of some personal business, like I mentioned earlier, if you missed. And felt great. I'm tired. Did a lot of mileage this week. Drove back to New Brunswick. 10-hour drive from Montreal. Stayed over 1 day and then came back. Another 10-hour ride back to Montreal. I got home yesterday. Probably left New Brunswick. It was 2:30 Eastern time. It was 3:30 in New Brunswick, 2:30 in Quebec. Got back here about noon time, 11, noon. So it took me about 9.5 hours, which is pretty much the fastest I can do it. Maybe a little faster, but in a safe way. It's a nice ride. Alone. I was alone driving the moving truck. So I had a lot of time on my own to think about a lot of shit. That's why I've spoken about this before, either on previous live or on one of my podcasts. Like, there's a reason why I stay busy as much as possible is because it's not always good to spend too much time in my own thoughts. But I'm working on that, and through the last few years of growth, I've been able to be a bit more comfortable on my own and actually use it to my advantage. So I didn't mind the 10-hour drive, and to go in a 10-hour coming back on my own, actually it served me great purpose. I utilize that time now to, instead of focusing on all the negative and the past and worrying about the future, I try to be more present and try to think about the things that need improvement in my life. And I try to come up with game plans to attack those issues and help me become a better man. It's the goal. It has to be. Anything you do in life, you have to constantly strive to become better. That's it. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. Had the fucking pleasure of getting together this afternoon with a really great friend of mine. Um, Shout out to Gabriel. I missed you, man. Glad to see you back here in Montreal. It was nice. We had a nice talk. We got together for coffee slash lunch. I always feel great after a conversation with Gabriel, just because we kind of go into it deep a lot. We, and we have that type of relationship. We're really close, and so got to spoken to about a lot of different things today. So it was great to see him and just have a great conversation. There's nothing that I enjoy more at this point in my life than having meaningful, great conversations. I enjoy silly conversations, but I just like to have conversations that make me think about either, how to improve, or make me think, about my bullshit and stuff like that. And it makes me, sometimes I gain a different perspective from great conversations. That's why I do the podcast. It's fun. I invite people that I know I can have great conversations. Sometimes I invite people that I've never really had a conversation with, but I kind of have feelings about, like, oh, I'm pretty sure I can have a great conversation with with this person. So what was I talking about before? Yeah, I had a point. I really did. I had a point. The issue seems to be fixed, by the way, on YouTube. If you're listening, I see there's a few viewers right now. I noticed some lagging earlier. I thought it might have been affecting the live, so I kind of got away from the Instagram. I've been trying hard to get on this Instagram because I know I can reach more people right now, but I'm committed to this YouTube, so I'm going to stay committed to YouTube. I just thought I could do both at the same time. Unfortunately, even though I pay Bell to get the best, fastest goddamn internet, I guess you can't have it all. Can't have it all. You can't have it all. What's good, everybody? I hope everybody's doing great. Summer's coming along, man. It's a busy time of year for me. I'm back to coaching my son's baseball team. The team were just announced last week. So I get my first practice tomorrow morning at 10. Looking forward. Last year was the first year in 10, I want to say about 10 years. I've been 9 or 10 years that I didn't coach, because my son made AA, and they have their own coaches at that level. Excuse me. So I had the summer off. I got to enjoy my son playing baseball. I actually watched him as a father and as a fan, not just as a coach. It's complicated. I don't know out there for those who have kids or that coach their kids. And I always hear people that say, one day when I have kids, I can't wait to coach them at the whatever sport, hockey, baseball, basketball, whatever your kid chooses. It's fun, but it's challenging to coach your own kid, because most of the time you're coaching your kid at a team sport, and guess what? He's not alone. There's other kids around. So you kind of have to treat him like a player and not your son while you're on the field. It's hard to distinguish, to separate both. When he's doing well, you want to cheerlead him And when he's not doing well, then I try to, it's hard to not focus on those types of things and try to be equal with all the players. So it's challenging. So I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but I just enjoy coaching baseball because I just love it. I'm passionate about it. It's by far my favorite sport. And through the years, I've acquired a lot of knowledge about the game. And I think I talked about this last live, but social media has helped me tremendously. I've been able to, I follow a lot of baseball coaches and a lot of baseball content on social media just to help me become a better coach. So throughout the winter, I've been accumulating a lot of drills and a lot of a lot of things that I'm really excited and looking forward to trying and implementing. I've been a head coach in the past, but I feel like in the last year of not coaching, where I was able to watch coaches on a higher level for a whole summer from a different perspective, I was able to observe, learn a lot, and I'm really looking forward to implementing and applying this new knowledge in my coaching duties this summer. It's time consuming, practices, games, preparation. Um, I understand that at this level, you can call it whatever you want. Either it be recreation or I believe my son plays at a competitive level. It is competitive. There is a level above which he did play last year, which is, the what I call the elite level. There's definitely more of a serious tone when you get to that level. It's like you can't take vacation during the summer during the you can't take vacation during the season, the regular season, and the playoffs. So it's like most of the summer, there's no chance of taking any sort of vacation. So it's a bigger commitment, a bigger sacrifice. There's a lot more practices, more games, it's tournaments, it's more money. It's a lot of commitment, a lot of sacrifices. But when you're like me, you've been, coaching your kid since the age of 3 at something, and he got to a level where he could compete at this level and was given an opportunity and a chance to showcase that last year. And I'm grateful and proud of my son and of where it took him and all the opportunities and experiences that he got to live last year, playing with a higher caliber of players than he's used to. I think it helped him a lot. I think it's going to help him a lot this year now that he plays back at the A level. Like some of you might know, he missed the tryouts for Double A because he had a broken arm. So there's an opportunity here to try to apply a lot of the things he learned last year at a different level and be a leader and work on his leadership skills. So I'm looking forward to see him grow as a ball player this summer, and I'm looking forward to see him grow as a teenage boy and hopefully as a leader. I don't want to push it or implement it on him. I'm not like that, but I believe he has the opportunity and some skills to be a good leader. So I'm looking forward to seeing him flip hopefully in this role this summer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this coaching gig. It's really it gives me an opportunity to work on myself as well. But there's something about sharing knowledge about something you're so passionate about. Like when I find out that what I said or what I did, what I coached had an impact on a player or anybody. Like I met this great guy last week at my wife's work. I went to help my wife at her work one day, and I met some of her staff. I met this young kid, 23, I believe, and he was a martial artist training to compete in his first kickboxing bout in a couple of weeks. So we got to working together. So we got to talking um, about that. Obviously, he was asking me a lot about my past and about my experience in martial arts and kickboxing and all that. And once you get me started about something I'm extremely passionate about or something I've lived through, like if you're asking questions, I'll gladly share my knowledge. I don't pretend like I know everything. I'm very careful about that. Like I'm not an expert on anything, but I do know a lot about certain things. And I'm at a point in my life where I've I have a lot of life experience compared to a 20-year-old. So not all 20-year-olds are eager to be dedicated and committed to certain things. But when I meet young kids like that are dedicated and smart and you know uh, that want to be better, um, I'm always glad to have conversations with them and to share knowledge, whatever they want. So that's what happened, and we were talking about this and that. I was telling him how through the pandemic, how I became an avid runner, how I kind of fell into running because at first the gyms were closed and I didn't really have any gym equipment here at first. And so I said, you know what? Let me start running. Maybe I'll like it. And it flourished into what it is now, which is a huge part of my life, a huge part of my training. And I told him how it helped me with my cardio, especially how I always struggled when I was in martial arts, when I competed in martial arts, either it be amateur MMA or boxing or kickboxing or even grappling. Uh, One of my biggest mental hurdle was the fact that I was never confident in my cardio because I knew deep down inside that I didn't put in the work. When you're doing something, you can't lie to yourself. If you're like that you want or not, or like either you want to be honest with yourself or you don't, but it doesn't really matter because your brain won't let you forget the fact that, hey, you didn't work for this and you're about to do something as if like cardio is a crucial part of any combat sport. Anybody will tell you that. But there's something about cardio in combat sports that gives you this extra edge because if your cardio is top notch and you don't have to worry about it, it's an added confidence to your game because you don't have to worry about it. So you can focus on all the other things. When you haven't done enough to have good cardio, it'll always be on your mind. As a pro wrestler, I'm sure it's the same thing. How many people have I heard, hopefully I don't blow up. And I've been in the ring with guys that 30 seconds into a match, they're blown up because they don't know how to manage the stress of performing. They don't know how to manage their anxiety, but mostly they don't work out and work at their craft, at being healthy and being in shape. Unfortunately, it's a big issue of mine in independent wrestling is that if I look at myself and I'm honest, I don't think anybody can touch me as far as cardio wise. And I know that some people would be like, bullshit, like I got great cardio. Yeah, you probably do, but it doesn't matter. Not to me anyway. But that's not the point. The point is um, it's always in the back of your mind. And when I was competing in martial arts, it was always an issue. And I was talking with this kid, and I was explaining him that. I was telling him that the big issue is you got to make sure your cardio is on point, and you have to also learn how to manage your anxiety and excitement before the match. You try to not have this adrenaline dump right before a fight because it'll fuck everything up. So I was talking to him about it, and so it fell on the fact that I was took up running, and then, my training now is mostly, high intensity, and I try to do a lot of training that relates to being not only um fit athlete, physically fit, but like that my cardio and is on point. Endurance is a big part of my training, and it helps a lot. When I get in the ring, I never worry about my cardio. It's never an issue. It's never even a thought. And it's great because it gives me mental energy to focus on something else. And when it get to combat sports, it's even worse because there's dire consequences of not being at the top of your game. The consequences of half-assing it in combat sports are extremely are way worse. The consequences are way worse of half-assing it in combat sports than in pro wrestling. I'm not saying it's not an issue and it's not a worry in professional wrestling, but when you got another man, another person in there trying to finish you, throwing, kicks and punches and trying to choke you out, like you got to defend as well as constantly be on the offense, defense, off. Like, yeah, your cardio needs to be at a certain level. And I was telling him how running did that for me by adding long runs, by paying attention to my heart rate. Especially, I told him, I said, if ever you think about that your cardio game might need to improve, I'm like, start running. Why am I telling you this? Well, because it leads to before when I said when um, I love it when I hear people give me great positive feedback or they implement something that I either showed them, coached them, or spoke to them about. And this is exactly what happened. I got a phone call from my wife yesterday, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to put Brendan on. I'm sorry, I'm naming him, but so-and-so on the phone, he wants to tell you something. And he gets on the phone. This is only after speaking to him for, once during the work day I had a few days early. And he's like, man, I just want to tell you, I started running, and yeah. And then he told me we got into it anyway. The point is that because of the conversation we had and the shared experience, he implemented something new to his workout, and he wanted to thank me. Then my wife brought back on the phone. She's like, sorry, I just wanted to share this with you because she knows how important that shit is and how happy it makes me that I could have had a positive impact on someone else's life. It makes you realize also, if you want to be like me and analyze a lot and spend a lot of time in thought about your life and about the things you do, the impact you have, it's a great reason. It's a huge part of the reason why I do this live, why I do these podcasts, why I share my experiences on social media. It's to try to have a positive impact on someone else's life. I feel like we need more ripple effect in this society, And by ripple effect, I mean, I think we need more people focusing on just doing right by their immediate circle, so that that immediate circle of souls or people can then do the same thing with their circle, and then the ripple grows and it grows and it grows and it grows, you know. I think if more and more people saw it like this and understand the impact and the importance of being your best version of yourself every day, or at least putting in the effort to be the best version of yourself every single day, because sometimes you're going to fail, you're not going to be the best version of yourself. We all have bad days. That's fine. You have to realize that that's part of life. But if you make an effort to be better every single day and to be the best version and to improve on many or one thing or whatever it is every single day, after a while, it might not be right away, it might not be in 6 months, it might not be in a year, whatever it is, you'll notice an impact on the people that are immediately around you, and sometimes on people you meet once, like this kid that I met. My wife supports me. She's also a fan of what I do. She sees that it's the best version of myself when I'm like this. So she promotes that about me. She knew exactly her employee what he was into. So when I got to work that day, she immediately put me to work with him because she knew we would have a lot to talk about. Now, did she do it on purpose so that I could share some? Probably, I don't. Maybe she doesn't think that far, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, the consequences were that I shared my experience. This person implemented running in their workouts now, and hopefully it'll bear fruit in a couple of weeks when he's fighting, not just by an improved cardio, but a peace of mind that comes with the improved cardio. Again, extremely important in combat sports. The skills to fight obviously are at the top. You need skills. You can't just be good at cardio. You need skills. But the skills are shit if you don't have cardio to always be maximizing the skills. Because no matter how skillful you are, the moment you blow out, it's worth absolutely nothing. Nothing. We've all been there. No matter how good you are at a sport or at whatever it is, discipline you're doing, the minute you get completely gassed out where you can't breathe, that's all you think about. And getting more air into your fucking lungs. Because it's life. Breathing is life. But what I was saying is that when a lot of the times we do things like this where we share certain things, knowledge for the most part from past experience, and it kind of stops there, right? Excuse me. For me, as much as it makes me happy, and I love hearing feedback like this from my wife, from him, it also helps me focus on the growth part of this, of becoming better. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I need to realize that I've lived a certain life, that I've gained a lot of life experience through all these things I've done, these 42 years on this planet. Now, 42 years might not be a lot compared to someone that's been here for 60, 70, 80 years, but like I said, 40 some years on this planet compared to someone that's been here for 20 years, you have to start realizing that if you have a certain set of skills and or a certain knowledge of something, um, it is important, I believe, that we share that knowledge, that experience, through conversations. I think we're not having, and I'm not just, I think it's important for men, especially because I don't think enough men spend time having conversations with people about important shit. But that's a different, I could veer into a different avenue. So I'm trying to stick to this point that I'm trying to make. It has nothing to with being old or of a certain age, but because someone that's 35 might have the same life experience that I have. They probably do. I wouldn't call myself a late bloomer, but I did spend the majority of my 20s being a fuck up and learning. But, it's, I guess it's part of the life. Everybody has their own journey, blah, blah, blah. But I believe that if, and I'm not just talking about men, but I do think it is especially important for men if if we could realize that the life experience that we have should be shared. Now you could see whatever you want in social media. You see it as a positive or negative. A lot of people don't like social media to think about all the, obviously it has its upsides and downsides, obviously. But I use it, like I said earlier, to try and share that knowledge and that experience of life. And some people might not want to hear it, and well, my message is not for them. I am confident through experience, through feedback, that my message does work on some people. That my sharing of experience, past experiences, and knowledge that I've acquired throughout the years does fall into some ears that use it for the good and the positive. So it's, the people that think that whatever comes out of my mouth is bullshit, well, just, it's okay. It's not for you, but I'm still out here sharing it because I think it's important. So to try to end on this point, the the ripple effect I was talking about earlier, where like I started seeing certain things in certain ways, like visualizing that ripple effect that I'm having. I'm in the middle. I do something that ripple, either it be negative or positive, it doesn't matter. That's another thing we have to be conscious about, is that, especially when you have kids, like that ripple effect goes out for everything. Everything comes out of your mouth, everything. What's up, Nadia? How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. That ripple effect, that I'm talking about is important, but also come to realize that it works both ways. If you're an asshole and you're putting out negative vibes, well, that's negative ripple effect on other people, and the people around you are going to absorb that ripple effect, and then their ripple effect is going to be of the same nature as your negative one. So if you try to keep that ripple effect in the majority of the time to have a positive effect on the people around you, oh, sorry to be here about that, Nadia. Yeah, rough week at work. That's never fun. I appreciate you tuning in, though, and sharing with us. That'd be awesome. It's the weekend, though, right? Got a lot of wrestling, maybe you're checking out this weekend, but it's the weekend. The past is in the past. We should only worry about today, the present. If you're doing great right now, I guess we're all good. to finish my point, yeah, it's a big thing that I've come to um, be aware of is that in the past, that ripple effect was a little bit more negative than it was positive. So it had an impact on my kids and my wife and all that. So through the growth, through the whatever you want to call it, soul searching, whatever word here you want to insert, whatever growth journey I'm on, I've, I've realized that by working on myself, that ripple effect started to be a lot more positive to the people around me. And then their ripple effect became more positive to the people around them. You're right, Nadja. It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including my wife, my mom. We should all appreciate our mothers for sure. Thanks for reminding me, Nadja. I appreciate it. So, all this to say, self growth, self improvement is extremely important because I believe that it brings out nothing but positive. And you need that ripple effect to be going out there. Another thing that has taught me in the last few years is that you can't focus on the millions. You got to focus on the very few that are around you most of the time. If you can have an impact on those people, then those people will have an impact on the people they come in contact with. And then those people have a positive impact, and it'll just keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And I believe if you attack it that way, that it will all come back to you. More and more people will find out about you. And if your message is genuine and comes from the right place with the right intentions, people will start gravitating around you. And I think that's important because I think we need more positive voices in today's age instead of all the bullshit that we keep hearing and all the divisiveness and all that stuff. Man, I'm sweating so much right now. There's a bead of sweat that just dropped right in my ass crack. I'm just gonna share this with you. I am doing everything possible right now not to lose it because I am very uncomfortable. Try not to focus on it, but I have this pillow on my back that tries to keep me upright in this shitty office chair, and it's not helping with the heat in the office. Bead of sweat right up. I felt it like right going more to my right butt cheek, but disgusting. Sorry about that graphic uh, picture I just painted for you guys, but it's who I am. It's hard to try to have a voice in today's age because there's so many people on social media, which is mostly what people use. But again, one of my great, one of my very close friends, um, hopefully they remember if they're listening who they are. They gave me some advice. Maybe it wasn't meant to be that way, but that's how I took it. So thank you. She did tell me exactly what I said earlier. Don't focus on pleasing to try to please millions of people. Try to get those millions of followers or those tens of thousands of followers. Focus on the immediate circle around you, your kids, your wife, your friends. Spread the message through them. Spread the positive, the knowledge, everything through them. And through them, they will grow like the ripple effect I was talking about earlier. And it's simple. Like I don't think I'm really um, saying anything that people don't know. It's pretty obvious and logical. But I believe anything in life, mostly any important things such as what I'm talking about right now, which I believe to be very important. It is simple, but for some reason, just because it's simple, people don't do simple. Doesn't matter how simple it is, to some people it's hard or they view it as hard. And I think that's a big that's awesome. Nadia sharing that she also has a YouTube channel. Yeah, aka Little Monster. Check it out. She does it for fun. She loves showing her Funko collection. Awesome. Toy hunting. That's great. You got to do what you're passionate about. That is honestly something that I've been contemplating and thinking about lately. And I had this conversation with my friend today, with Gabriel, about trying to figure out if the majority of my decision making on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, the things that I constantly do, the routines, the things that I participate in, all the things that I do in my life, how much of that decision making that I do for those things and whatever I do is strictly for myself, or how many times do I take someone else's feelings in consideration when I make decisions? Meaning, do I do it for me, or do I do it because of the expectations I believe others have of me? Don't know really if I'm making sense, but in my head, it seems to be making logical sense. And I've come to realize that there might be a few things in my life that I constantly do because of what I believe the expectations of myself are from others. And I don't think that's the right way to live your life. I think if you live your life, if you base your decision making and you take yourself in, I don't know yet. That's how I try to process things, is that I'm like, does it make sense? Is it really make sense? That's why I'm on here. Sometimes I have conversations. It's like I'm just talking out my thoughts. And if then I'll get someone in my private messages like saying, hey, I listened to your live or to your podcast and you said this, like, I get other people's perspective. I know that sometimes you have to take other people's feelings in consideration and it's important, but I'm trying to figure out that if the best way to live your life is not to simply take your feelings into consideration and really not give a flying fuck about anybody else. Not even that you're not giving a fuck, but you don't even think about anybody else's feelings, about what they might think about you or what you're doing. If you feel like doing something because you really want to do something, if you feel like saying something and sharing your thoughts on the internet and social media because you really want to and feel that it's important, then do so. If you're wrong, other people will debate you, but I think it goes along with why I don't believe in censoring anybody, is that I don't know how we can grow and get better if we can't have conversations with the people we believe to be wrong. I know I've been wrong in the past, and through listening to other people's point of view and perspective, I saw a different way in certain things, and I think it's important. So it's currently an issue I'm spending a lot of time and thoughts about. I don't know if you call it meditating. I don't really meditate, but I do when I'm running and when I'm by myself, when it's my me time, mostly when I'm running, is I never run with headphones for this exact reason is that I really get into my thoughts and I work things out in my head. Same thing when I get on the mic here for lives, I kind of do the same thing. Trying to work my way through life and trying to correct myself as much as possible. Self correction. I try to keep myself extremely accountable with my actions and the things I say I'm going to do. That's why I keep doing these lives because I put it out there. Everybody, I don't, sometimes, like right now, it's hot as fuck. I'm sweating. I'm uncomfortable. I'm still doing it because I enjoy doing it and I think it's important. Even if there's not many people that listen, I don't really care. I do get positive feedback and sometimes only from one person, so that's enough for me. So that's it. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. I don't know if I got to the end of my point, but I feel like I did. It's almost an hour. I'm really warm and uncomfortable, so I'm going to put a stop to this for now. Happy Friday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Nadia, thanks for your input today. I really appreciate it. Check out her Savage or YouTube page, Nadia, aka Little Monster. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Thanks for everybody that's listening at a later date, also on the live. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel, SVGTV. Go give the Instagram page a follow, svgtv.yt. It'd be greatly appreciated. Savage Paulson on Instagram for myself. Much love to everybody. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay savage.